Welcome back, History Foodies. I have an amazing start to fall of 2022. Let's check out the Red Lion at Science Hill in Shelbyville, Kentucky. Shelbyville was established in 1792 and incorporated in 1846. It's named for Governor Isaac Shelby. Governor Isaac Shelby was the first and fifth governor of Kentucky and served in the state legislatures of Virginia and North Carolina. He was a soldier in the American Revolutionary War and the War of 1812. And while governor, he actually led the Kentucky militia in an action that was rewarded with a Congressional Gold Medal. The city is known as the saddlebred capital of the world and actually holds an annual Shelbyville Horse Show. And fun fact, Colonel Sanders of Kentucky Fried Chicken lived part-time in Shelbyville from 1960 until his death in 1980. Now we're headed downtown into Shelbyville to visit the Red Lion, which is housed inside of Science Hill School. This site was originally known as the Science Hill Female Academy and was founded on March 25, 1825 by Julia A. Tevis, and it was originally a female preparatory school. This was one of the first schools founded specifically for young ladies west of the Allegheny Mountains, and this school used a system in which older, more advanced students taught the younger girls. The place that we're walking up to right now is the actual original home of the Tevises, and Julia believed that girls were able to master the sciences just as well as young men were able to. I'm going to sprinkle in some more pictures of the school itself, but I am super proud today to show you an episode in which the owners and individuals from the staff, including the chef, were able to sit down with me and tell me their story straight from them. So let's get inside into the Red Lion and talk more with the owners and hear from them exactly how this amazing location began.
I'm originally from Kentucky, so from the mountains. That's why you hear the southern drawl, or mountain drawl specifically. But lived all over the world. Of course, retired military, so I'm stationed in Schofield to Lewis, Lewis to Campbell. So from there, got out of the military and retired in '06. Got out of the military and then sort of fumbled around with life a little bit, and then met this lovely person at a Starbucks in London, Kentucky, and we went on one date and have been together ever since. So nearly 14 years. This little watering hole of the Red Lion became sort of a go-to spot on Mondays and Tuesdays because she was at school, and we would come up here and drink, and they had a unique menu, and we sort of watched how it could evolve into something really cool, really good, because it was a hidden gem. The owners reached out to us, basically, said, hey, can you become the owners or is this going to close? So I was a no, she was a yes. But I said the only way we do it is we completely rebrand. We have to rebrand. So we basically shut down the little pub in the back. After a point of contention with a lot of people because they love that spot. But for us to do the type of work to really promote the product we're trying to do, that area had to be shut down for kitchen space. And then we evolved this way. And the Grand Hall is, in our cocktail lounge as we refer to it, it is breathtaking. Why would we hide that? So the goal is when people walk through this door, they're like, oh wow, this is not what I thought at all. So, and that's what we're trying to do, is from you walk into the building like, oh wow, to the cocktails are like, oh wow, to the food is, oh wow, and then the customer service is, oh wow.
I grew up coming out here with my mother, with my family, with different holidays and whatnot. And so this was always just such a, I guess, nostalgia behind that alone. And it was like, they're still open? So when they, came to us, it was like, we can't let the lights in half the building be dark. And Brian was like, yes, we can.
Yeah, we can.
It's okay. I'm like, no. But for those like almost 3 years at that point, we'd sit in the pub, we'd sit in the patio, and we'd watch it, but we would see how, just kind of what they're doing, and given an opportunity, what would we do different? I mean, whenever we go to restaurants, we were just always sitting back and learning, with the pandemic and becoming owners during the pandemic. And it's like, okay, we have to be very agile. So by this dining room being the same thing for 50 years, and the same, menu, and not having dinner in here, Brian was like, hey, we need to rebrand. We gotta change it up. and have to be totally different. We can't be the same thing.
It is a destination restaurant. This is Bourbon Trail. This is, you come to Kentucky to see the horses. Like, that's what we are. We know that. We understand it. We want to be more, and we want to have more of a local presence, but we also understand our clientele.
Thank you so much, Brian and Kristen. And next up, let's talk with Hayden, who was originally hired as the beverage director and is now the general manager.
If I were to walk in off the street and I were to ask you, what is this place? What would you say?
A morgue.
Okay.
Because I always have to be a little bit sarcastic. But I mean, it really, it's an all-girls school. It's a great restaurant. I always talk about how Wakefield Scarce is its third party, and it's kind of like a outlet mall where we're our own individuals. Because some people come in asking about the antiques, and I don't know much about antiques. I know much about alcohol and food. Everything restaurant side, not antiques.
Just a quick note from what Hayden is talking about. In the rest of the Science Hill School, there are rooms that used to be dorm rooms or classrooms, and now they're filled with small shops that you can come in and visit and support small business. And there's an antiques area that pretty much spans the back portion up into the second story of the building itself, where you can come in and you would see original parts of the building itself, as well as some older items that are there to be purchased. Just about everything you see in these pictures, you can literally come in and purchase right there on the location itself. So enjoy some of the pictures that I have scattered about here as we head back to hearing more from Hayden about the Red Lion.
Anything else you want to add, or about the morgue, or anything else?
Oh no, I'm just always sarcastic, try to be playful. I mean, some people, we're a very hard location to find.
Yeah.
That's probably our biggest fault. So when people come in, they look a little confused, like, we're looking for the Red Lion. I'm always like, oh, well, this is the Pink Tiger. So, I mean, anything I can to put a smile on somebody's face.
Yeah.
Hayden will actually be very heavily featured inside of our haunted episode coming shortly. Next up, let's hear more from the chef. Jeremiah Brown recently joined the team. Let's hear more.
When I was 14, I got my first restaurant job, and I won't name the name, at a Jersey Mike's in northern Kentucky. I've been pushing grocery carts at a grocery store nearby. Just started working at an early age, but that's where I fell in love with cooking, I think. Learning how to work a flat top with one of the scariest guys I've ever seen in my life. But he took me under his wing, and he really somehow got me excited about cooking and wanting to learn more about it. So graduating high school after working there, I moved to Louisville to go to culinary school and got a job at an Italian restaurant, high-end, and worked there for a good 6 years, working my way up to sous chef. And after graduating culinary school, kind of hitting my ceiling there, I knew I wanted to try something bigger. So I was speaking with the executive chef of Churchill Downs, and they were able to bring me in for a tasting and offer me the position as a junior level sous chef with the company. From there, it just kind of got wild. I got to not only run a very unique part of the track as a culinary leader, but to see the nostalgia of Kentucky Derby 11 times over. Every time was like the first time watching that race go off. It was electric and so historic. And to be a part of cooking for 180,000 people in one day, millions throughout the week, and then to just see that piece of Kentucky history being made every single year was very, very cool. But when we weren't doing the Derby, they kept me on the move. So the company that I worked for was specialized in sports and entertainment. They send me around the country. One year I think I was on the road almost 200 days, but I was doing everything from the Grammys in LA to the Super Bowl in Indianapolis and in New Orleans, PGA Championship, Ryder Cup, NASCAR, the U.S. Open in Hyde Park, New York. You wouldn't believe how many people have gotten married at Lambeau Field, and to get to cook for the Packers down in their team dining, got to really experience more than any normal chef probably would, doing all that traveling. And anything from, like I said, catering for 180,000 people in the infield to cooking for 8 people in their private home, super high-end food. The experiences were all different and unique, and something that a lot of people don't really get that type of education, you know. And I'm glad that I got that experience, but I'm glad that I'm not doing that anymore. I've finally got something that I can call my own. The food here for us, what will set us apart and make us more successful than anybody else, is creating an environment where your team is excited to come to work, to see, oh, what are we doing new today? What flavors are we playing with in the kitchen? And even the front of the house staff, they're going to be excited to see and talk about new types of food that you don't necessarily see around here or in many other places. That alone can help bring cohesiveness to a team that's very special and unique. We're having a really great time developing something great. I mean, we're going to have a myriad of options. I like to keep it very well balanced, and you know, you work with the kitchen that you have been given to design your menu, but you also want to have a really good balance that you can't please everybody, but you got to try like hell too. Now, the 2 dishes that you got to sample today, one is a dish I've been doing for a very long time, and several different restaurants or locations throughout my career, is those crispy baby back ribs. Prepared a little differently. A lot of times people think, you know, ribs, barbecue, smoke. What I've been doing with them for years is braise. Do a super sweet barbecue style rub on them. Braise them at a high temperature for 2 short hours. Normally a pork is done low and slow. This is done quick, and then we cool the racks down completely, otherwise it would shred apart, but we want to cut them into individual bone sections so it's an appetizer. But the way we get them so crispy on the outside is quick chip in the deep fryer. So we deep fry them till they're just super crispy on the outside, and you can see they fall off the bone, juicy and tender in the middle. So you're experiencing a myriad of textures and flavors throughout something as simple as a baby back rib appetizer. And the jalapeno buttermilk sauce on them got just enough heat to kind of really get your taste buds moving and get your mouth excited for the rest of the meal. I like to cook with just a tedious bit of spice on certain things to kind of activate the palate, and it does tend to make a little bit of a different experience for people. And that's one of our very most popular starters as far as been running as a special so far. It will make the new menu.
And what comes next is just as amazing.
So that's another kind of trip through a whole different levels, different flavors, different textures. Again, this is very refreshing. You know, we put that wasabi aioli on there. And it's fun to get unique with the plating on a dish like that. So at first I was just gonna do a big old pile of wonton strips, and you can do it like a old school beef tartare, but giving you the option to really play with your food. 3 open what look like maybe taco shells.
Yeah.
It's just something that I thought was a lot of fun and wanted to try out, so we're running it as a special this weekend. A version of that will definitely be on the menu.
What an absolute joy it was to speak with Jeremiah about so many things that people need to consider when they are building a team at a restaurant and opening up a space for creativity at work while still being able to provide the best flavors possible. I really hope you enjoyed this episode and some of these shots that I'm giving you now that come from their social media pages that highlight the work from the staff. Please go to their social media sites. I'm going to put that down inside of the description for those links You're going to want to see what they have on special as you head their way. Thank you so much to Brian and Kristen, Hayden and Jeremiah for their interviews today and for telling their story of the Red Lion at Science Hill. As I finish up this episode, I have a few more shots of the grounds that I wanted to be able to share with you. This one here being of the courtyard outside. What a peaceful area to just hang out in, take some pictures, and for you, maybe come and enjoy, have a coffee or tea outside while you support the small business here inside of Shelbyville. What I truly love about these locations is feeling like I've gone back in time. At one point, I feel like I can go back in time and enjoy a drink with everybody that has ever experienced the Red Lion and its predecessors. And at the same time, I feel like I could almost hear the girls running around the yard, learning and doing things at a higher level because Julia believed in them. Also throughout the grounds is so much of the history. There's pictures lining the walls, as well as the architecture of the building itself that still remains intact. Here you see me heading up the stairs to a portion of the second floor where I was able to get many more stories from Hayden that will premiere inside of our Haunted Restaurants episode coming shortly. But this is also used as an area for storage, and, might I add, maybe even one of my favorite places. This is where the Red Lion stores portions of its liquor. Of course, if you look left and right, it would look like old hotel rooms, but really it's the dorm rooms. And then these long hallways kind of stretch down into areas that could feel a little bit creepy, but we'll find out from Hayden in the next episode, right? So come on back. As I head out from Kentucky and straight into a thunderstorm, I might add, I usually wonder where I'm going to head off to next. But you can help me with that. Go ahead and put in the comments where you think I should head to next. It can be anywhere in the United States. I'm looking for many more episodes to film for 2023. And maybe you own one of these places. If so, contact me. Thanks for joining me again. Stay tuned here and go ahead and subscribe. We're also across other social media platforms. Check out Facebook, Instagram, and yes, I goof off sometimes on TikTok. Nom 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 nom.